Hi, Jim Ewing for Provision Solutions Inc. and Provision's Business Success. Thanks for joining us as we learn about some of the things that are necessary for success in business today. In this series, you'll learn from those who have experienced business. You'll pick up some great tips that will help you to succeed in your own business. Apply the lessons that are learned and pass them along to others.
My name's Pat O'Meara. I am an instructor at the Donning School of Business. I've been a past chair at the School of Business and have been associated with the Donning School of Business at Red Deer College for the better part of 7 years now, where I teach global business, finance, and financial services courses.
What does business success mean to you?
Success is achieving whatever goals you set aside. So if you're a business owner and you want to have a return on equity of 20%, that's success. But success can't just be driven by your profitability, if you will, if you're in business. It has to be, because at the end of the day, it has to be about something a little bit more than just profit. It has to be about, your personal development as a leader, as an organizer, as an entrepreneur. So success is, to my mind, a combination. It has to be holistic. Profit or attainment of some type of financial or non-financial goals, personal growth, those sort of things, that over time you can say, yeah, I've developed a body of knowledge and a body of points in time that I can look back and say, these were milestones that I passed.
What are the top things that contribute to success in business?
Your success has to be underpinned by realistic goals. If you start out, if you say you're going to climb Mount Everest, you just don't go and do it tomorrow. You're going to start out with a hill and something bigger and so on, sort of thing. And in the same way, so success has to be underpinned by a realistic expectation of yourself and of the people around you that are trying to help you be successful. If they become unrealistic goals, or at a minimum they become perceived as unrealistic, then you've got a problem, because the psychological bent of people is to say, well, I can't do that. And if you set them up to have that perception that that goal is not attainable, success in a broader sense will never be achieved. And I've seen this in a number of cases where leaders and organizations will say, we're going to do this. Well, that's great, but you need to build a capability and understanding of people of what does that mean? What does that goal, attaining that goal means if we're going to do that? And I think that success has to be, that's why I say success has to really be underpinned by a realism of what is attainable. Certainly set stretch goals. I'm not discouraging setting a stretch goal, but the stretch goal still has to be realistic, and it has to be perceived as realistic by the person or persons implementing.
What about facing competition?
Well, I guess you have to define competition would be the first thing. And then second, you have to ask, is it healthy competition? So there's an interesting example that you talked about when we first met some time ago. And if it wasn't you, it was somebody else who said, little sub shop here in town had their secret sauce, basically. And they had a sub shop across the street. They gave the recipe for the sub sauce to the competitor across the street. Now, was that anti-competitive? Was that a dumb idea to do? The sub owner thought no, because from his perspective, he was raising the level, the standard within his local market. So I think that in that regard, don't always consider competition to be a negative, but also look at how you can, and there are many examples outside of North America of co-opetition or cooperation with competitors, not anti-competitive behavior, not price fixing, but raising the standard within the industry and within the community.
How do you succeed in a global marketplace?
Successful in international business, I think the top of mind comes to me as patience. You've got to be patient and understand that you are dealing with a different set of cultural norms. Now that may be a very obvious thing to state, but it is something that you have to sort of come to terms with. Now, and I use one really, really good example of where in working with a college in China, we had all the documents done, we had everything done, we were ready to go, it was great, we were going to turn all of this stuff into the local government in China, and we were going to get all of these approvals, and then they came back and said, well, where's the stamp? I said, well, what's the meaning of the stamp? Well, in China, the personal stamp is more important than the signature. We over here say your word is your bond, your signature is your bond, essentially. So just little things like that you have to be that you have to be patient about and understand and adjust to.
How do you improve cash flow?
For me, there's two things. One is, as in your personal life and in business, keeping a certain amount of money aside for emergencies is you never know what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, cash is what's going to pay the bills and pay your employees. I heard Bill Gates once in an interview say, that at one point in time, a student asked him, so when did you know you were in for it? You had all this risk and this could either be a really, really big success or not so much of a success. And he thought for a minute and he said it was about this second or third year in. And he realized that, the brains of the operation weren't just him, it was all these people he'd hired. And he said, if anything goes wrong, these people could leave, and my operation leaves with them, basically. And he thought for a minute, and he said, and from that moment on in time, he said, I tried to always keep a year's worth of salaries in the bank. And then he thought for another moment, he said, this was the late 90s when that interview was done, and he said, thought for a minute, and he said, and I think we've got about that in the bank right now. So having that money aside and understanding that, things happen in business that you have to be prepared for.
How do you find and retain great staff?
Balance between the teamwork that you have to do and recognizing everybody's contribution. But there are individuals in the organization at various points in time that pop up and do something because that's their expertise, it's their passion. And then they go back to being the team member and somebody else comes up and becomes, the play of the month or the play of the year sort of thing. Doesn't mean that they're any better, it just means that there's a team, but individuals within the team have different passions that come to the fore when needed in an organization. So when you're retaining good staff, you've got to find a balance between the team and the individual, and finding a way to recognize individuals in the team when they contribute in an extraordinary fashion is really, really important. Everybody understands that people have different passions, and they'll raise their hand or step up to the table, as it were, at various points in time to contribute to that success. So find a way to recognize individuals for their contributions, because at the end of the day, it's not the paycheck. Well, it is the paycheck. It pays our bills, it pays our mortgage, it pays our retirement, that sort of thing. But my personal approach has always been that yes, I'm part of an organization, I'm part of a college or a bank or a financial services company at various points in time in my career, but I'm also part of something greater. And you want to imbue that sense of that to those individuals, that they have contributed individually to something greater. And it's a real challenge today for managers to find that balance between the team and the individual.
How do you improve the corporate culture?
Again, if you start with the principle that people come to work, yes, for a paycheck, but they also come to work because it's something that they believe in, that's passionate, and they want to be part of something greater, then you have to imbue both the individual and the group at various times to that culture, basically. And you have to allow the culture to change, because as new people come in, they bring new things to the table, and in order for them to be part of the culture, they may want to, over a period of time, add their little piece to the culture, which means that maybe the culture kind of changes a little bit. And an organization that does that allows that sort of organic development of things and doesn't just say, this is our culture, period, end of story, I think will be a lot more successful in the long run if they allow that culture to organically develop. And the other piece is that it's senior management in an organization, they can provide broad parameters of what is culture or what they think the culture should be, but at the end of the day, you can't say this is our culture and everybody shall follow it. It has to be something that's organic, that yes, senior management will contribute to that, but those in the lower parts of the organization will also contribute to that. So that at the end of the day, there's a buy-in by everybody in the organization of what is it that we believe, what is our values, what's the mission, and how are we going to get to achieve that mission in the long run.
How can you improve the working relationships in your environment?
I think it's really powerful that people take hold of change in their personal lives, their business lives, whatever the context is, and engage that change and drive that change. Because, if you sit back and you say change is happening and I'm not going to be involved in it, then the reality is that you are putting yourself in an uncompetitive situation, personally and otherwise. You really have to be willing to drive change, and that's where an organization, we're talking earlier about organizational culture, new people come in and they ask sometimes what one of my instructors and one of my professors used to say, the dumb questions. Well, they're really not dumb, it's just nobody's ever asked them. And what they're doing is they're seeing something and they want to change that, or they think they can change it. And you really have to encourage people to do that. People that have been in the organization for long periods of time really have to embrace the idea that my job will change over a period of 10, 15, 20, 30 years of working. And I can take hold of that change and I can manage the change, or somebody else will manage it for you.
How do you expand and develop your network?
Something that I was told a long, long time ago, and recently had an experience where I said, yeah, that's right. I see why that person told me this. And this person said, always remember two things in your career or in life. One is that change will happen, whether you like it or not. And I think I've kind of talked a little bit about that. And the other piece that he offered that was solid advice is always make your own promotions. Because you making the promotion and you is about you driving who you are and how you want to change your career, and certainly using your mentor and other people to help you with that. But decide for yourself what it is that you want to do with your career and where it is that you want to go, and then make those changes on your own. It's a very powerful feeling to be able to do that, to say I did this, and it really it's about you and the change that you drive within yourself.
Marvelous. Pat, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. If you have questions about business success or other things to move forward with your organization, drop us a note and we'll get back to you with information to help you move forward. For Provision Solutions Inc. and the Business Success blog, thanks for watching.